I call a member for Northern Tablelands.
Come on, shut him up, come on.
Space. Do I have the call, Mr. Assistant
You do. I said I call the member for Northern Tablelands.
Thank you very much, Mr. Assistant Speaker. I'd like the House for a moment to consider the humble and often maligned wooden bridge. Timber enabled our predecessors to build the foundations of our road transport system, opening up country New South Wales and establishing the thriving bush communities and inland cities that we all call home today. Bridges in that time could be built with a resource that was ready to hand, could be worked with simple technologies, and most importantly, was cheap. But those timber bridges, once considered assets, are now regarded by most councils as liabilities. Many have reached their use-by date and all need ongoing maintenance at a great cost that councils can ill afford, or indeed simply complete replacement. But, Mr. Assistant Speaker, like beards, vinyl records and corduroy pants, everything old eventually becomes new again. And I'm proposing that this could be the case for the humble timber bridge, because of the example being set in my electorate by Glen Innes 7 Council. Glen Innes 7 Council has an engineer, Keith Appleby, who grew up in a sawmilling family that worked the forests near Inverell. Because he grew up with this timber and its immense versatility, Keith doesn't look upon timber bridges with the same prejudice that most council engineers do. And when Keith's love of timber was put together with an innovative local fabrication business, We Built Constructions in Glen Innes, some interesting new solutions for low-cost bridge making emerged. Glen Innes 7 Council had to replace an old, low-lying timber bridge over 9 Mile Creek near the village of Dundee, 26 kilometres to the north of Glen Innes. The bridge was around 100 years old. It serviced only a handful of farming families, and the estimated cost of a new concrete deck, which is traditional for bridge replacement these days, was $1 million. Yet that bridge, Mr. Assistant Speaker, is about to be opened at a completion cost of just $400,000. And from that figure, you can also deduct the sale of the old timber from the original structure, estimated to be worth around $50,000 in revenue to the council. The trick to building a new bridge at less than half the cost of a conventional modern structure is, as you might have guessed, the use of timber. To be precise, to use timber in a way that cuts construction costs by 60% with no less of a load rating and no loss of longevity versus its more modern concrete and more favoured concrete cousin. What Keith and Jay Weir of Weir Built Constructions have come up with is a laminated bridge deck. They are using partly local timber, partly plantation timber. To understand its construction, think of a stack of heavy 6 metre long wooden planks stacked 4.5 metres high. Turn it sideways, lay it on the ground and bore a series of holes right through that deck, and that's where the expertise comes in. Bolt it together with some serious ironmongery, coat everything in tar for longevity, and you have a modular piece of bridge decking just as strong and just as long-lasting as concrete. When you lay several of these 6 by 4.5 metre timber modules on an old concrete bridge superstructure, you have a cheap new bridge, one that won't trouble future councils for many decades, and one which should outlive its concrete modern cousins. Glen Innes 7 Council is only using this technology where there is already a concrete superstructure under the bridge. But with 42 timber bridges on council's upgrade schedule, that means a lot of these bridges can be replaced that might have otherwise had to be maintained at an enormous cost. I don't know about you, but as someone who spent a long time in local government before entering in this place, I find this to be a genuinely exciting innovation. It could mean that some bridge replacement schedules could effectively progress at twice the speed and half the cost of using concrete. New South Wales Roads and Maritime Service is looking closely at what's being done in Glen Innes, and I urge all members of my colleagues from the regions, especially along the Divide, to take this innovative thinking back to their local councils and spread the word. Concrete has its place, But my message to you all is that timber hasn't disappeared as a bridge-making material. It's still cheap, it's still easily worked, it's still renewable, and now it can be put together in ways that make it as strong and long-lasting as concrete. I want to congratulate Keith Appleby and Jay Weir on their innovation and keeping more local dollars in Glen Innes to support local businesses. Well done.